Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be a drugstore favorites of sort. These are, I've got a lot of drugstore favorites in general, but I feel like I tend to repeat a lot of the same items over time just because they're such staples in my collection. So these are ones that I've loved for a very long time, but I feel like I potentially haven't mentioned as much as I've mentioned other products. So I want to make sure that you're aware of them because I love them dearly. I'm going to kick this off by talking about the CoverGirl Clump Crusher Mascara. I used this for years. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I know it was around the time I started my blog, and I really enjoyed it back then, but I started using other products after a while because eventually you want to try something new. And I've recently come back to it, and I'm just remembering exactly why I liked it so much. So I use the water-resistant formula. There is not a waterproof version, which is a bit of a shame, but the water-resistant formula is excellent for not flaking on me. I've had a few drugstore favorite mascaras in the last few years, namely that Essence one, and then there was a Maybelline one as well. And they were great, and they were super wet mascaras, which is what I enjoy, but they were leaving little black flecks just underneath my eyes, and it was a nightmare to clean up throughout the day if it got stuck there and then I tried to smear it away and it literally smeared in my foundation. I was just like, this is so frustrating. So recently I went back to this and it doesn't do that. Now I don't consider it as voluminous as those other mascaras because it's not as wet of a formula, but it doesn't leave any clumps, as the name would suggest, the Clump Crusher, and it just separates my eyelashes perfectly. So it's a bit of give and take in that respect. I don't get as much volume with this, but the longevity is so much better for me because I'm not having to clean up my under eye at any point throughout the day. So I'm back to using the CoverGirl Clump Crusher Mascara, and I'm so happy that I found my way back to it. The next two ones are items that I find myself using routinely in my day-to-day makeup, and they are the NYX Ultimate Eyeshadow Palettes. Now, the one I use the most, and I know I've mentioned this quite a bit on my channel, but it is worth repeating because I use it so frequently, is the Brights palette. I use this pretty much every single day, honestly. I find the colors in here are very vivid and vibrant, but they can be applied as a transition color. And because I wear so much colorful eyeshadow, I'm often trying to find a transition color that matches all of the brights that I have. And this palette really has all of that for me. Now, these colors can be used on the lid, obviously, or in the outer crease area, but I just find for me, for whatever reason, the tones are so good at putting through the crease and using as a transition color. For example, today I am wearing the two yellows up here, and they are beautiful. Yellow, oddly enough, is not a color that I tend to create an eyeshadow look out of, and I did it today and I was like, whoa, that is pretty. So even a yellow works as a transition color, which surprised me because I kind of figured yellow was a little bit too bright to put in that area, but I really like how my eye look came out today. I use this so consistently that I'm honestly surprised I haven't hit pan on any of the shades, and really there's no significant dent in any of them. So I really love this palette. And the other one that I've been dabbling in a little bit more but haven't used nearly as much as this one is the Phoenix palette. And as you would expect, this is a little bit more of a red tone, fiery, ashy palette. I do tend to use the deeper shades a little bit more in my makeup routine. I have this sort of like medium brown on the outer corner of my eye today. For whatever reason, I don't find I gravitate towards the shimmery colors. It's more the mattes that I prefer. And actually, the Brights palette is all mattes. So I find the quality is excellent in these. I know I've heard people have very varying opinions on the two palettes, or just the Ultimate palettes in general, but for me, I found them to be absolutely excellent. Since I've just mentioned those NYX palettes, I also have to talk about their Off Tropic Pro Liners as well. They come in a rainbow of colors, which is exactly why I was drawn towards them, because these are the kinds of pencil liners that I like using on my lower lash line. I have sort of stepped away a little bit from using black all the time, and I've really moved into more vibrant colors over the years. I still like black for quite a smoky eye look, but I'm definitely not reaching for black on my lower waterline as much as I am colorful ones now. What I do need to point out about these is that they are not actually listed as eye products on NYX's website. They are very misleading because they come in this pencil format with, you know, a twist up retractable pencil, and you would assume that they are eye pencils, and that's definitely sort of how they're marketing them, but some of them actually specifically indicate that they are not safe for the eyes. Now, I don't have sensitive eyes, so I have been using these on my own eyes without any issue, and I will continue to do that, but if you're somebody who is sensitive in the eye area, I wouldn't necessarily put these near your eyes. But anyway, for me, these have been working out great. I find the longevity on them to be the entire workday, really, and that's surprising because I feel like I used to have so much problem with lower waterline eyeliner, and I just feel like in recent years the formulas have gotten so good that I'm no longer finding that it's just disappearing off of my lower lash line, which is fantastic. So I have, what is it here? I have the orange, the green, a pink, a yellow, which I am wearing today in my lower waterline, and a blue. And I know they have a red, but I didn't need to pick that up because I already have like a red pencil eyeliner. And honestly, they just have the whole rainbow of colors. So I was really excited when these came out because they helped to fill in gaps in my collection. I had a lot of Makeup Forever Aqua XL liners. They're great for the waterline, but those tend to be a little bit more pastel, and overall I wanted something a little bit brighter and verging on neon, which these are. I find these to be vivid, vibrant, they're creamy to apply, they don't drag on the eyelid, which is fantastic because I don't know about you, but I'm over any kind of eyeliner that drags on my eyes. This is not the 90s anymore, I don't need to be dealing with that. And thankfully these are creamy and just glide straight on, for me, the lower waterline, but these would glide nicely onto your upper lash line as well. I can't talk about great drugstore products without mentioning Kiss False Lashes. I've been wearing a lot of these lately and I am so pleased with them. I believe I have Beehive on my eyes today, but I've also really been enjoying Pompadour here. I didn't think I was gonna like these because they looked so big. And I mean, I did have to cut them down so they fit my eye shape, but they're not so big that they're actually scratching my eyebrows, because I don't like that feeling when it's kind of like tickling up there. Ugh, it's not a good feeling. But these are actually not as gargantuan as I was expecting them to be, and they are beautiful on the eyes. This was a quadruple packet, but I've gone through 3 of the 4. These are the Page Boy lashes, and they were one of the ones that I was wearing the most within the last year, but I've more recently moved on to loving Pompadour and now Beehive. So these are a great staple, although I find that they're a little bit more, they're not as thick, basically. They're a little bit more sparse on the band. And that's one thing that's great about these. The band is invisible and it's flexible enough that you can get it to conform to the shape of your eye. Revlon for a very long time has made my favorite foundation at the drugstore. I still desperately love the Liquid Color Stay, and I think I pretty much always will. But I need to talk about Revlon's Full Cover Foundation. It's a little bit misleading. It's called the Full Cover Foundation, but I don't feel like it is full coverage, which makes me happier because I prefer something that's more in like a sheer to medium coverage range, and that's what this one is. I'm currently wearing this right now. It is in the shade 200 Nude, and it does suit me a little bit better in the summertime when I've got a little bit of color on my skin. But because it is a little bit more sheer to medium coverage, you can get away with wearing it during times where it may not be an exact match for your skin tone, which I really appreciate. The consistency on this is very whipped and foamy almost. It applies like a cream and it blends out nicely with a beauty blender, which is what I use to apply my foundation all the time. And I love the fact that it is in a squeezy tube. I love pump tops generally, but for travel and just ease of use, I feel like a squeezy tube is so much better, just because I'm not worried about breaking this in my luggage if I'm going to be, you know, carrying it around with me. And because this is more of a sheer to medium coverage, it does have a lighter weight feel on my skin and it does dry down nicely. I'm getting really annoyed lately with a few foundations that are not drying down on my face, and during the summertime I can't deal with it. Like, if you're not gonna dry down on my face, I don't wanna wear you during the summertime. And I honestly barely wear foundation during the summer anyway, just because it's so uncomfortable outside that the heat just feels like everything is melting off of my face. But this is one of the more comfortable ones, and I think it's just because it is a more lighter weight consistency. And for me, I kind of attribute that to the more sheer factor of it. Anyway, I really love Full Cover, and I don't hear enough people talking about it recently, so I wanted to mention it again. And the very last product I have to talk about is one that is only accessible to Canadians, and that is by Quo, the Shoppers Drug Mart home brand. So this is their Highlight and Glow palette, and it came out for holidays 2018. And I was so excited about this palette when they launched it because it was something very different for Quo. Quo tends to really just sit in the middle range of products and nothing is that exciting. They play it very safe, which is fine, and I'm sure they sell a lot of products that way, but nothing is ever that intriguing to me. So when I saw them put out this, I was like, what? Because I don't expect this from Quo. And what's so exciting about this for me is that they are different colored highlighters. There are a few shades in here that people would consider the more traditional highlighter shades. Like this one up here is a little bit more of a white gold, and this one down here is a champagne amber type color. But the other shades are so unique. This one up here is a bit of a peach shifting one. You've got like a lavender pink one down here. This one is like a blue purple shift, and then this one is a little bit deeper, and I can get away with wearing it, but it's a bit more of a mauve taupe type color. And I just find this so pleasurable to use, and I'm so excited that Quo has put out something like this. Now, this was out for holidays 2018, but they did actually repackage it, and it's part of their permanent collection now, which I am so happy about. I initially thought that this was going to be a limited edition launch and we'd never see it again, and that truly pissed me off because I was like, look, Quo, you came out with something super exciting, don't take it away from your consumers. So I was really happy to see them put it out in their permanent range. The colors are beautiful, they apply really nicely, and I just think it's such a special palette from Quo. So those are all the drugstore items that I wanted to talk about. I've been using these for quite a long time, and I really just wanted to highlight them because I feel like they're so good. Let me know if you have any recent drugstore favorites, and that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye!